But all right, so backing up to the beginning is we have the forms, and this is the form when if you and I know, Shrath, I'm not sure if you'll ever like come up with a seller, but if you do, this is the form you fill out when you find a deal. This will be linked right off the Wholesale Broker website. You'll hit the team button and submit a deal. This first part is who are you? If you're not up here, don't feel bad. We're behind on getting people up here. The second part is where's the deal? The third part is what's your license status? Just so we know with every file where you're at, because some people get their license and whatever. Commission request. If it's the units 1 to 4 and you're not licensed in the state that requires licensing, like Pennsylvania, then you're going to be this category. You're going to get half. If it's an unlicensed deal, not in a state that requires a license, you get more. If you're a licensed and you're running the deal, you get more. So this is, we'll edit this if we're not on the same page. We'll talk to you about it, but I want to know where you come from. Seller name, property, and this will get grown out more probably later today or tomorrow with all the other questions. But right now, basic questions, and put everything else you know with the property in here. Phone, email, that is the seller's phone, the seller's email. Check off this consent for communication, and then boom. Oh yeah, it wants actually. What do you call it? Entry checks these. And just showing everyone the form because I realized I screwed up and didn't show the form. But anyway, this is your form. It's linked off wholesalebroker.com. We then, when I receive this form, text me, say, hey, there's a form there to receive. I'm going to do prop stream. I'm going to do the MLS if I have it for that region, and I'm going to do prop stream. And I'm going to look for what is similar to the subject property. In this case, here is the subject property. And here's the subject property in PropStream, which shows no comparables. PropStream has no data. It shows 83 neighbors, none of which with a great sale price. So what I'm looking to figure out is this property, what's this property worth currently? If this thing had a lot of resources, this thing had a lot of data, which I'll show you one in a second that does, then I'd be like, oh, well, I can see pictures of something that sold the way it is. I can see pictures of something that sold the way it will be when I finish flipping it. And I mean sold, closed, done. I don't care what people are advertising houses for. I mean actually sold, closed, what's it actually now? That's what I'm looking at. Now, if you look at this subject property, the ground is here. I happen to know this street. In fact, I think I might have sold in this house. You'll see that there's no yard. It drops way the heck off. So it is not like the old song we had as kids. Some of these things are not like the others. Well, when I look at the things in the neighborhood, the house and the road are basically the same height. This house has a yard. Our house doesn't have a yard. Not surprisingly, yards are valuable. People like yards. You look at the condition of this house, okay, it's livable. Someone vacuumed the rugs. It doesn't look flipped, but it's certainly, okay, it's certainly been, someone's cared for it. It's got backsplash. It's got nice floors. Maybe it's a flip. Maybe it's a live-in, but so probably top of the mark. Again, I know this neighborhood. I know this town. This is about as beautiful as anyone's ever going to make anything in Carbondale. So, all right, 150 grand if it had a reasonable yard. Mine doesn't. Other thing we know is this is a 2-1 1300. Ours is a 2-1 1,000 square feet. So ours is smaller. So our subject property has a crappier yard, really no yard, and has less square footage by a lot. 1,300 to 1,000 is not a small difference. So we are never getting $148,000 out of this property. $140,000 out of this property. Never happened. So I'm going to look and say, okay, and I don't have any data that shows me something in such a small square feet that also has a crappy yard and no driveway and on-street parking. I just don't have anything that comps those numbers. So this is 189 because it's a nice house and a nice piece of property and flat and level and everything your end buyer family is going to be looking for in a house. This has. So basically what we're learning here is that this particular subject property is never going to make the numbers that are available from a subject property like this. And this is where the art of the game. Now, I also look at it on PropStream. As I showed you, PropStream has no comparables. So now I'm going to go to my least favorite. I'm going to go to Zillow. And here's what I'm not going to care about. I don't give a flying bleep what Zestimate says. Zestimate's an algorithm, and it's a pretty crappy algorithm. Hey, Shad, we'll send you a link later. If you have any questions, feel free to jump in. But I'm desperate enough on this particular transaction to look at Zillow. And just to catch Shad up, our subject property is this. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square feet. And I can tell you this from having been to the property. I know this street. Here's the house. Here's the non-driveway. Here's the street. The house is a good 6 feet below that. And the yard, if there even is one, because this is literally built on the side of a hill, is way the heck down there somewhere, and it's not big. So when we look at comparable properties, even if we're in the same square footage, 123, this has got a driveway, this has got a flat yard, whatever. So if I look at 123,000 for this, pretty well, if not flipped, pretty well finished. I'd say top of the mark. Everything seems to have been done. I see the cross hatches in the windows, probably brand new replacements. So this place has been dipped in gold, and it sold for 123,000. Now, if we go back to our subject property, it can never look like that. It doesn't have the yard. It doesn't have the parking. It doesn't have. If this house was on a better lot, it might be competitive. But let's say $100,000 is really the top of the mark on this property. And in Zillow, and I only use Zillow as an absolute last resort, I look around and see, is there anything, else that looks comparable? I'm seeing 145. I'm seeing, again, here we go, 65,000, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Really no pictures, so really nothing valuable, but still a better yard than what we have. And that's when we're looking at comparables. And that's why Zestimate doesn't work, because Zestimate doesn't know how to look into this stuff. 40,000. All right. I mean, for 40,000, this wasn't a bad deal for somebody. It needs a fair amount of work, but a fair amount of things have been done to it. And again, better yard. Ooh, screw fuses. Gotta love those. All right, so this one for 40,000, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, similar square footage, but it's a better yard. It's flat. So all of this circles back to telling me that our cute little subject property with a crappy yard is never going to be worth more than $100,000. And then, and I don't have the repair estimate on this property, but I'm pretty sure, having been in it a few years ago, it's a $60,000 rehab. Well, if it's worth 100, my flipper has to be done for 70. And the work in the house is worth more than $70,000, basically. But even if it's not, my flipper has to be done for 70. If my repair estimate is 50 grand, the most I can give the seller is 20 grand. So we've now done research to figure out what it's worth. And I'm going to teach you this on your deals. Even if you're not licensed, even if you're not allowed to do this work, I'm going to show this to you through the process. Now, that's what I wanted to cover. The most important thing, I should say, I wanted to cover today is the form. Is that on the Wholesale Broker, as we finish this call, you will have this form on there. So when you get leads on the call, you will be able to, when you get leads, you'll be able to fill them in and get them in the system. The second thing I want to show you, and I want to make sure everyone has this, is I want to make sure you all have the script. Again, you don't have to do this alone. If you're not comfortable, as soon as you get a prospective seller on the phone that says they want to talk real estate, call me up. Schedule on my calendar. My calendar's on the wholesaleBroker.com. I'll send you my calendar link. Get us on the phone with them. But if you do end up on the call, you all should have these real estate dial scripts. If you don't, please message me right after this call and I'll get them out to you. It walks through it. It walked through the hi and how are you doing. And remember, this is a script. It's an outline, not really a script. You're not following it word for word. This is a conversation starter. All you're doing here. And you're walking them through. You're telling them we're brokers, we're legitimate, we're all this stuff, because they're talking to a lot of wholesalers. We are not the only game in town. We are cash buyers. You are then going through, you want to ask the questions on the property. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, square footage, what works, what doesn't, yada, 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 yada. You want to get an idea of what it is we're possibly going to be selling or buying or flipping or playing donuts with or whatever. And you're not going in any kind of order. You're going wherever the conversation takes you. But your goal is to get all of these questions so that you can put them on the form. So it's get a seller on the phone. And I have more leads, by the way. If anybody needs them, let me know. Get a seller on the phone. Get me on the phone with them until you're ready. Go through these questions and have this conversation. Get everything in the form. And then once it's in the form, we will run the comps on it. And we will help you determine what it's worth. And then we'll circle back and have the conversation with the seller. So if you don't have these script questions and you need them, or you whatever, let us know. We have those. The other thing that I'm going to also be showing you, does anybody have any questions before I jump to the last item? And I don't know why it locked me out of this. Of course it did on the, of course it did. But anyway, is we have training videos that you guys can also access for more information. And feel free to reach out to me and whatever. But if you're looking for more, we now have some good training videos. So any questions, any updates? I mean, I don't know where you are, Adrian and Shad and everybody else, as far as what you've been able to accomplish. Can you kind of catch me up on where everybody's at?
I'm in cooking season already, Steve. That's normally my main website with that prop stream. That's all I really use to actually touch bases with a lot of people. But I use True People Search also, and I deal with that stuff like on hand. So that's what I normally do. Check
Yeah.
properties, see location, sight unseen. Sometimes it depends if it's virtual or not, if it's local or not. And that's the only way I move. Like I already use PropStream. I never heard of Flex MLS besides with commercial real estate. I told you I'm a commercial mortgage broker also. So nothing is really hard. It's not rocket science at all. You just got to really read the black and white. Stop bullshitting around and read the paperwork.
Yep. Basically. So yeah. So as soon as you have somebody, that's ready to have a conversation, please get them in here because this is how you get paid. This starts everyone getting paid because this is what we generate the contracts about. Because remember, the biggest risk to everybody in wholesaling is liability and credibility. And so, I mean, if basically, so as soon as you've got a lead, put it in here so we can start working it with you. And we can start kind of getting you off the ground and so on and so forth. And obviously, you're a little further along than some with being able to run them. We have 4 or 5 other comping softwares because unfortunately, PropStream does in the more rural areas. This happens a lot where they don't have good data. So we have some other ones that are better in those areas, and also because we're licensed, I can call if I don't have the MLS access, I can call up another broker. So do you have any deals you want to talk about? Any deals you want to go over either on the call or afterwards? Adrian? I guess we lost you. Oh, there you are.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I just put my phone in my pocket.
Okay. Yeah, so are there any deals you want to go over now or you want to go over after the call? Any stuff we should cover for some of your sellers?
Not yet. Not yet. Some of my sellers should be good. I told them guys to just stay on that line. Just stay on that line for now because I want these guys to make sure that they actually paying attention to what we're doing and what we got going on now.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the thing. I don't want everybody running around because I told you I'm with Gorilla now. So I told you I'm bringing the whole Keys Open Doors on board and I'm trying to see what everybody's doing now. But you see, I'm at the job now, so.
Yeah, and that's fine, and we'll let you. We're wrapping up in a minute, but the other reason to put every seller you talk to in the system, that's what this form is because then it starts all the AI stuff starts to kick in. Right now, we just do AI texting and emailing, but as of May, probably mid-April or May 1st, we're going to be doing AI inbound and outbound phone calling as well. So that way you don't have to, and we can talk about if you want to opt some people out, like if you're already in active conversations. But you don't have, if they're like, hey, we're not ready yet, man, or hey, we're trying to do XYZ, this thing will remind you or we'll contact them, hey, we haven't heard from this guy in a few weeks. Can you give him a call? So that's the other reason. Everything goes in here, goes into our Go High Level software, and it starts running the process with you and for you. So yeah, so if you're buzzing around work, that's cool. That's cool. We can catch up. But yeah, so anybody else have any questions or anything?
Nope.
All right. I guess we're good. All right. So everybody try to reach out to me over the weekend and kind of catch me up on what questions you've got. Otherwise we're back here next Wednesday. Oh, Shad, there you are.
Copy that.
Is there any way you could send all that stuff over?
Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah. So do me a favor. Pop me a text message. Well, actually, So I will get this out to you. So I will send out to you right now. In fact, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
So
I just want to be able to log in. I want to be able to get access to stuff. I'm pretty familiar with a lot of this, so I can probably navigate it pretty well. But I just want to be able to log in, get the right login stuff, make sure I'm setting everything up right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I will. I'll do a broadcast. I'll send out your login to you, and if you have any trouble with it, let me know. And I'll do a broadcast of the scripts and everything. This page here, I'm actually as soon as we hang up, I'm putting this page here, the form directly on the wholesaleBroker.com. But yes, I will send everything out to you. But right on the wholesaleBroker.com under the JV team is where there's going to be the drop down for this form, and the other tools. We're eventually going to put a password in front of it, but I'm not bothering with that right now. We're going to have this form here. We're going to have the scripts. We're going to have a couple other things. And then probably next week, after next week's call, I'm going to show you guys the password module. I don't want to put up the password until whatever. This will have I'm sorry, you can't even see it. I didn't switch over. Over here, our JV team on the wholesale broker. So I will send it to you directly. Yes. On the wholesale broker, it's right here under JV team. Everything is under JV team there. What will be there is the form link will be there. What will be there is a couple of our script utilities and pretty much everything else you need. We have plugins to a lot of software, which I'm not going to put on the JV team link until there's a barrier, a password barrier. But I have logins to a lot of different marketing softwares and stuff. Yeah, so I will get that on by the end of sometime this afternoon, probably in the next hour or so.
Thank you, guys.
Any deals you got going on, or any questions or anything?
Nothing currently. I'm just trying to get familiar with how everything's going to go, and then I'll start following up and making calls and getting them in the system, man. You'll see the leads start flowing, man. I'll bring them in hard.
All right, yeah, we're ready for you, and like I said, I don't know if you've heard it because sometimes the thing is spotty, but we're getting our AI online. We have the AI texting and the AI emailing. That'll go live probably Monday, Tuesday. I still want to test it out because I haven't been on the receiving end of it yet. And then, like I said, within a couple of weeks after that, we'll get the AI inbound and outbound calls going on, and also the scheduling stuff. All right, cool. I guess we're in great shape, guys. Thank you.
Hey, so when we plug in those leads, the follow-up sequences, if they close up with them, that's still like our lead and everything, right?
Oh yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, once you fill this out, no one else owns that lead. The only time, and it doesn't matter, like if you fill it out, I actually have to add this. I just thought of it. I didn't add we have two versions of, hey, I haven't got time to deal with this lead, but here it is. 25% is, hey, you gave us a lead, but you like, screw it, I haven't got time to follow up on it. You don't even want to hear about it. You're just done. That's still your lead, even if we finish it. It's always your lead. Nobody else touches it. The only time is if for some reason you and somebody else both enter the same lead. It's literally done a matter of, we're going to contact you both, but typically it's whoever got it in the system first. Because there's no way of knowing if you called somebody and somebody else called somebody and both ends up in the system. I'm then going to call you both up and say, hey, well, here's the situation. You both entered the same property. And the system automatically flags those for me. I can't see that likely happening because we have people spread out pretty well. But if that's the only time when I'd have to call you up and say, hey, wait a second, guess what? I'm not, let's talk about what to do here. Every other time, it doesn't matter how this deal finishes, it's yours. Now, one last thing, just so you see it, is, and yes, we are on the right screen. I don't know if you might have already seen it, but where is okay, my phone is going crazy here. Sorry. Anyway, so it drops down. Oh, commission request. So here's a drop down, and this is what you think you think your situation is on the deal, and this is where the 25% is going to show up too. You're unlicensed in PA, 50% to you at closing because I got to do a lot of the work. In the units 1 through 4, land and 4 and above, 5 and above, you can be fully and get you 75, 80, 100% no problem. So this drop down tells me where you think you're at on the deal, and that's going to be the first thing I'm going to look at and say, hey, you think you're at 80%, but hey, you know what? Under Pennsylvania state law, I can't. Yada yada. So I'll address this, but it's still your deal. We'll make sure we have it all. We make sure we have it all in, and understand. I'm talking generically. I'm not talking about you, Shad. I'm just saying, hey, I'm kind of covering it for whoever listens to the recording. But when you fill out the form, we'll zap right back to you, probably that afternoon and say, hey, got it, great. Let's chat about moving forward, and we're going to involve you in every step, even if you're not licensed, even if you can't do all the stuff. You're still going to get to see it all, so you understand more about how to do it. And actually, I have a conversation with my lawyer at 12:30 about how we can do more how we can pay more to unlicensed people and how we can kind of work around the law. I just want to make sure that we're all doing everything in a way the state can't get mad at us. So that's great. And all right, so any other questions? All right, cool. So, reach out to me. We'll be in touch, I'm sure, during the week. Otherwise, I'll see you every Wednesday at 11:30.
Copy that, Steve.
Sure.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thanks.